Hi, everybody. It is Friday, December 15th, 2023. Um, you got to remember I'm a clairvoyant, clairaudient, so everything is for entertainment purposes only. The full disclaimer's in the box, along with the buy me the coffee nonsense. Please double check that you're still subscribed and, click the bell, all the other stuff that every other YouTube creator reiterates. So let's just get going with it. I mean, a lot of the news in the US right now is all about the Biden Barry's puppets. I mean, we've got the junior puppet I can talk today. The junior Biden puppet Hunter. Okay, he's facing pow charges in the swamp. Tax evasion in the land of fruit and nuts. And then in some other places, he's going to face charges pertaining to the Mann Act, which means he transported a female across state lines for immoral purposes. So it's all over that. It's like he's kind of refusing to go into the closed courtroom for his depositions. It's congressional depositions, not the normal legal nonsense. And I guess he held his little press conference in front of the Senate chamber instead of the House chamber. So that's territorial nonsense. Of course, he's going to jump to the Senate because that's all DNC controlled. And he has to be Barry's good little puppet. But he's causing more issues for himself because a congressional subpoena is something nobody wants to get. It's like super serious. And when he is going to he's going to be forced to start singing like a canary. He may decide to use the Fifth Amendment, refusing to answer, but there's so much evidence out there, I mean, just on the internet that hasn't been scrubbed. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene got into trouble because she held up a printout of a screenshot. And they said that was pornography. They're like, no, it's evidence. And because there's so many screenshots of Hunter doing stupid stuff, that's why they want it public, so they can say, oh, you're putting up pornography or other stuff. But if it's behind closed doors, they can bring out all this evidence and force him to say, hey, is this you or not you? It wouldn't surprise me if they did a strip search of him to compare moles, scars, bruises, because we all have scrapes and scars from just being a kid, and comparing it to the naked body in all these screenshots. So another thing is that is Barry going to tell Daddy Jojo to give his son a complete and absolute pardon / immunity from all the crap he's pulled? They're trying to find out the constitutional legalities of that right now. That's why they're doing all the stall tactics. Because it'd be really, really suspicious if Daddy gave his son complete immunity. What are they covering up? And we know there's a lot of stuff that they are covering up, and it is going to look really, really bad. So, I mean, we already know that it's like, yeah, the Z guy, Mr. Slobberoonie, came for a meeting with Jojo, when actually he had private conversations with Barry. And we know that Barry is loyal to the EU and the occults. And Barry doesn't care about the United States. I mean, they're having fits because the House will not pass the alleged money, the bill that includes a boatload of money going back to the Z guy, but they don't want any money to go down to protect our borders. It's it's getting ridiculous because the House has now voted that they voted yes to start the impeachment inquiry hearings. So people will now be spilling their guts, talking about all the nasty stuff so they can impeach Jojo. I mean, yeah, they impeached Clinton, but he didn't budge. They impeached Lincoln's, the guy who followed Lincoln, and he kind of had to fade into the woodwork. They impeached Nixon. They tried to impeach Nixon. Nixon had to resign. So if they follow through with the impeachment nonsense, is Jojo going to fade off into the woodwork? But we know that they're making all sorts of accommodations for Jojo's decline. I mean, he no longer has to climb the giant steps onto Air Force One. Basically, he's climbing stairs into where the cargo area, and then another flight of steps where there's probably two guys on either side getting him up the stairs to where the presidential cabin is. I mean, Jojo is like, he's begging Barry to put pressure on Viktor Orban because Orban blocked, 50 billion euros to go to the Z guy. Yeah, Viktor Orban, and Hungary is really, without his vote, it's like Ukraine really can't get into NATO or the EU, and they're also blocking Moldavia, however you want to pronounce it. They're trying to keep them out also. So we've got a lot of stuff, and now that they released Jilly's idea of a festive White House, I mean, that had to be pulled out of Barry's or Mikey's ass. It's the music they're using. I'm like, I guess Irving Berlin must be rolling in his grave. I mean, it looks like, during the Bush eras, people laughed and giggled because they had Barney Cam. The little terrier that used to run around and cause havoc in the White House. The Barney Cam, that was cute. Nancy brought in Mr. T, who was actually from the Chicago area. His house is up in Lake Forest. Melania did basically like a winter white Christmas with the Nutcracker and prima ballerinas. Well, Jilly Poop, she brought in some hip-hop or whatever they want to call themselves, some boogaloo dancers, and they turned it into a hip-hop ghetto-ass Christmas in the White House. Guess they're catering to the, basically it's a Marxist BLM Christmas theme at the White House, and it's just absolutely disgusting. And even the U.S. is now saying, oh, we're only going to support the IDF, Israeli Defense League, in small phases and stuff. But yeah, Israel and Gaza right now, that's a big focus for everybody. And yeah, I grew up watching Vietnam, and I remember them talking about the tunnel warfare. Well, the occult Hamas is using the same tactic as the communist Viet Cong, tunnel warfare. And yeah, they're pumping those tunnels with seawater, which corrodes metal really well. And if something gets dunked and flooded with seawater, it's not workable. We're going to have to work fast. And we have to realize that these occults, especially Hamas, they're going to be pulling some shit. And these occults were started by when we had Ickies in the White House who allowed the three-letter agencies under their command to start up these cults, these eye cults. I wish that one channel, Cults to Consciousness, would do an expose on these Islamic cults, but that gal's really focused on the Mormons. And from what I've seen from some of the Mormon cults, they're just as bad. They're getting pretty close to what Hamas is doing. Now, okay, Hanukkah is basically done, over and done with. And now we're coming up to Christmas, which is the big Christian holiday. Well, I'm getting that the eye cults, because they want to make everyone who follows Judeo-Christian religions, they want them to be subservient to the eye cult. So let's get ready, because, you know, they're going to attack us on different holidays. Or they're trying to. They're trying to make us fearful. And I'm like, no, just keep doing what you're doing, because the last thing they like is people living their lives. Well, the next big eye cult holiday happens in February. I think it's February 7th. It's called, what is it? It's February 7th of 24. It's like Laila al-Miraj. It's the holiday when allegedly Muhammad transported himself overnight from the Kaaba in Mecca. If you see the pictures, that big black box thing, that's allegedly holds where the sacred piece that Muhammad leapt into the skies and flew to Jerusalem, so he could then go to Jerusalem and be on I think it's a stupid rock, so he could ascend to heaven, paradise. Yeah, it's like, okay, trying to get from Mecca to Jerusalem in the darkness. Like, okay, let's say you have 8 hours of darkness. Back then, not feasible. Totally not feasible. Yeah, okay, yeah, I used to live in the city north of Mecca. Yeah, I got to Checkpoint Charlie, but unless you had your little identification stating you were a Muslim, you couldn't get in within. I mean, they built a superhighway around the holy city of Mecca and Medina. I mean, it's kind of whacked over there, but it's basically that what they're stating is that on this holiday in February, it's like, oh, that's when, yeah, Muhammad left Mecca to go to Jerusalem. And at that time, Jerusalem was listed, he had to go to the furthest mosque from that holy spot in Mecca. So, if Jerusalem was the furthest away mosque, maybe there shouldn't be any mosques further outside of that circle. If we put a pin on the map and use a compass to draw the mileage around, maybe that circle is where all Muslims should be required to be within. No expansion. You have your little area according to the furthest mosque away is where Muhammad went to. So let's congregate all these fools back into that little circle. Yeah. I wonder if we could make sure that happens. I mean, we should confine them. I mean, okay, there are good Muslims out there. It's primarily the Shiite extremists that are causing all this crap in the world. And they're the ones that like to use human Kevlar. And women don't mind being used as human Kevlar, and neither do they'll, hey, hand a Hamas idiot one of their kids. Because they know if the kid gets killed or they get killed, they're going straight to paradise. And any aid packages, they don't go to the people. They go to the Hamas and Hezbollah and the Israeli-Palestinian Army, the IPA, they go to the Taliban. I mean, the Taliban, what they're pulling now? If a woman isn't under the control of a male family member, they're dumping them into prison because they say it's for their own safety. I mean, there used to be many organizations in Afghanistan that would protect women who were being abused. Now, Taliban, let's lock them up. Yeah. These guys are misogynistic. Women are nothing but a receptacle for their expulsion of pleasure. It's these eye cults, these extremists that are giving everybody a bad name. And like I've said so many times before, yeah, I spent a lot of time over there and maintained friendships. And back in 2014, after my accident, when I was literally flat on my back, one of the gals that I knew as a teenager, I mean, she lives in a suburb of Chicago. She called me to say, hey, what's going on? How are you feeling? And I told her, and she's like, oh my gosh. And she goes, I'm coming up there. And she came to my apartment, and she's like, literally, she was like, you got to get in the shower. She was there helping me with stuff. And it's like once a week, she would come up and she would have literally prepackaged dinners and disposable things and tinfoil. She goes, okay, all you have to do is put it in the oven. And her husband was like, how is she doing okay financially? Because the company she worked for denied her workers' comp. And this was during the Teamster nightmare. So, yeah, she's Saudi, but she's a Sunni Muslim. Now, one of my good friends in the building that I live in now, her husband is Iraqi. Okay, he's Shia, but not Shiite. There's a difference. And she's like, hey, if you ever need any help, let me know. If you need to move something to clean behind, she goes, I'll send my teenage son, my husband, to move the stuff for you. And they're good people. And he doesn't, I mean, he's totally, he goes, yeah, I moved here. Yeah, I observe some of my religious customs, like he doesn't eat pork. Well, there's a lot of Jews that don't eat pork also. But he goes, I'm an American, so we follow American customs. He's like, yeah, I say seasons, greetings to everybody, happy holidays. I mean, he goes, yeah, I take my kids out trick-or-treating. We celebrate Thanksgiving. So there are good Muslims out there. It's just these Shiite assholes that are ruining it for the entire bunch. And we do have to stay aware of all this crap that's hitting the fan. Now, what's-her-face is now trying, Rashida Tlaib, terrorist Tlaib out of Detroit, is now trying to save her ass. She's now talking about everybody in their medical debt. Well, dingbat, terrorist Tlaib, remember that it was Hillary Clinton's ideology of a perfect socialized medicine for the U.S., then Barry's affirmative Affordable Care Act that really messed up our healthcare system in the U.S. They basically forced people to get health insurance. So now the health insurance companies created a scam where, okay, you're paying a chunk of change on a premium, but you're not getting any health care benefits from it, just so you don't get dinged on your taxes. Hey, I could not afford health care. I took the hit on my taxes. And I know a lot of other people did also. Because I looked. I held an insurance license, broker's license. I read what these policies weren't providing. But because of Barry and his Affordable Care Act, the health insurance companies now gouge people right and left. And they're basically in cahoots with the government to prevent coverage. They deny coverage. They deny health care. So they don't have to spend money. What you're paying for, you don't get anything in return. And people are going into major debt, and the debt shows up on your credit report. And where it should be ignored, no, credit agencies are now including medical debt into your credit score. So if you have medical debt from a serious illness and you're still paying it off, you can't get a credit card, you can't get a car loan, you can't get a housing mortgage. Thank you, Barry, for your stuff is continuously screwing up America. And Tlaib is like making a big stink out of it. Well, it's her fellow Democrats that created the mess. But she's talking about it to save her ass because people know that she is pro-occult. And now even the stupid, what's her name? Claudine Gay, the president of Harvard, the black chick who condones anti-Semitic bullying behavior. Oh, she went for a photo op to a menorah lighting. She is just doing propaganda to cover her ass because she basically follows the Marxist regime, anti-Semitic, promotes anti-Semitism of the BLM. She was definitely what they call a DEI hire for Harvard University. Diversity, equity, inclusion. She's a black female with radical Marxist ideology. That's what she is. And the other people from MIT, they're equally guilty. Now, the other thing that's been all over the news that everybody else has kind of reported on, Henry. Or just call me Harry. Okay, so we know that he has court cases up the wazoo. I mean, the paperwork could fix any toilet paper shortage anywhere. My opinion, he filed all these court cases so he could leave the U.S. and go back and forth to fulfill, because of the visa requirements, he can't be here in the States for more than a certain number of days, so he goes over. And since he would be twiddling his thumbs in probably a private bedroom of the Soho house, so in order to continue his wife, Rachel's vendetta against the royal family, because she didn't want to have a second banana roll for the rest of her life. So there's all these lawsuits. Well, I guess he lost some where he's like, 40,000 pounds in debt that he has to pay out. And now he got this other one where there were like 33 articles or charges pertaining to, the Daily Mirror Group. So he won 15, 15 out of 33. Yeah, they were responsible for hacking and invasion of privacy. So he got like 140,000 pounds. I call it a wash. Because he's so in debt to the attorneys, solicitors, barristers, and fines from other stuff, that the money that he's supposed to get from the Mirror Group, he's not going to see a penny of it. It's all going to go back into the system to pay off what he owes. So on paper, it looks good. In reality, they're scrambling because he can't make up his mind. Did he willingly leave, or was he forced out of the family business? I think he was told to clean up his act and to get his wife in line. And when she refused to do it, she took off. So yeah, he is cut off from the family. He's crying that he can't have this and can't have that. I go, well, yeah, if you're not going to do the work, idiot, you're not going to get a paycheck from the civil list. So it's just a wash. Yeah, it's a big deal how he won a little bit, but he's not going to see any of that money. All it is it's a paper victory. Just use it for TP. Just use it when you go to the bathroom. That's all it's good for. Yeah. Now I don't want to. I want to get this up so I can watch other people with their live stream today. It's and something else I noticed. One of those AI gossip sites. What? Gistbox. Now it's News Gistbox. They've changed the AI voice. A lot of voices that tended to have African American accents have now been changed to AI voices that are mid-Atlantic. Yes. And that one of these AI generated news crap sources is putting out gossip rumors, basically clickbait, saying that the FBI arrested Henry because of non-payment of fines. I'm like, duh. To get somebody arrested for non-payment of fines in the UK, that's not the FBI. That follows under the US State Department and Interpol. And he has to have an extradition hearing first. So it's just, if you want a good laugh, listen to these AI generated garbage sites. I click on them because it's just a good laugh. But no, FBI isn't going to arrest Harold. That's Interpol, and it's through the Secretary of State's office. It's not the FBI. FBI has other shit going on. So, everyone have a good evening. Good Shabbos. I'll have my next video goes up on Sunday. And let's see, what do we have going? Yes, Sunday, the 17th, the 19th. Yeah, the winter solstice is coming up. So, I think on the 21st, I might just pop on live. And we've got a live stream, live broadcast on the 23rd. And, yeah, this month I'm doing, all my videos are scheduled to be on odd days, so that includes Christmas Day and New Year's Eve. People start leaving a message down in the box. Maybe we should do a live stream welcoming in the new year in the UK. So that would be like, go on like at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, so that's 11:30 UK time. And basically go on and off and welcome in the new year for all of you in the UK. And then here, then again at 11 something to welcome in the new year here in the States. Let me know what you think about that. So, yeah, everyone have a good evening. I'll catch up with you on Sunday the 17th. Bye-bye.